Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be learning about strings in Java. Now, if you watch the video on data types, you'll know that strings are basically non-primitive data types. They're also known as user-defined data types because they're defined by the user. They're not inbuilt into the programming language. And strings usually refer to words or sentences. For example, in this case, you can see that all four of these words and sentences are strings. Subscribe is a word and it's also considered as a string. My name is Surya is a sentence, and this is considered as a string as well. One common thing you notice among all of these strings is that all of them are enclosed by double quotes. Any string in Java has to be enclosed by double quotes. So here in this simple program, you can see that I'm printing the word Java. And even this is considered as a string because it's enclosed by double quotes. And usually, we consider strings as an array of characters. Initially, this might not make sense. So let's first take four simple characters. As you can see, we have the characters W, D, R, and O. I know that these are characters because they are enclosed by double quotes. We can arrange these characters in the following way and we can form a string. You can see that every string basically consists of multiple characters. Now, even in our initial examples, all of these strings consist of characters. Let's take our original string word and let's give this string a name. Let's call it string word. And let's separate the string into its constituent characters. You can see that we have the characters W, O, R, and D. Now this looks a lot like an array. That's because it is an array. An array consists of values of a particular data type and strings consist of characters of the car data type. So in this case, this is actually quite similar to a character array. And like an array, we can also give each of these characters or elements of the string indexes or positions. You can see that here I have indexes or positions for each of the characters. The first letter W can be given the index 0 and the last letter or the last character D can be given the index 3. And like an array, the length of the string or the number of characters of the string is equal to the last index of the string plus 1. Now this makes sense because if you notice, we start counting our indexes from 0, but we start counting our length from 1. So for this string word, since the last index is 3, the length of the string is 3 plus 1 or 4. If you count the number of characters, we do have 4 characters. Now let's take a different example. So I have the string hello world over here. Let's call this string string word 2 and let's separate this string as well into its constituent characters. If we do that, we'll get an array of characters that looks like this. In Java, even spaces are considered as a character. That's why the space between hello and world is considered as a separate character. Now let's give the characters of this string their indexes or their positions. You can see that our indexes, like before, start from 0 and in this case they end at 10. Now remember, the length of the string is just the last index plus 1. So in this case, the length of the string is 10 plus 1 or 11. Now let's see how we can initialize and actually create strings in a program. Even though strings are quite similar to arrays, they're not actually arrays. In Java, strings are defined as a class and every string that you create is considered as an object of that class. And we already know how to create an object. The syntax for creating an object is pretty simple. First we have the class name. In this case, it's string. Then we mention the name of the object. So over here we have the name of the object. And then we use the new keyword to tell the programming language that we are creating a new object. And then we have the class name again with the parentheses. So now let's actually use this format to create an actual string. Now the class name for strings in Java is just string. Then we're going to have the name of our object. We're going to call it obj. And then we're going to have the new keyword to tell the programming language that we're creating a new object. And then we're going to have the class name again, string, and we're going to add the parentheses. As you can see, we made an object of the string class, but currently it does not store any string. Now the actual string that we want to store in this obj variable is going to be kept in this parentheses. So let's just say our string is hello world. As you can see, we know it's a string and even Java knows it's a string because it's enclosed by double quotes. Now if you notice, you use strings quite a lot in programming. When you're printing something, you're usually printing a string as well. So to make things a little easier, we can skip this whole object format and make an object of the string class in the same way you would make a variable of a primitive data type. Java allows you to do this to make things a little easier. So over here, let's say I want to make an object called obj2 of the string class. I can just say string obj2 is equal to whatever string I want to store in this object. So let's just call this Java is fun. I can store the string Java is fun in this object obj2 without using this original long format. This makes things a lot easier. And this is also why you might usually mistake a string for a primitive data type even though it's a non-primitive data type. And this object obj2 works exactly like a variable. So you can see that I can add a println statement and I can print obj2, and if I run this, we'll get Java is fun. Now I can also print the original object obj, and this will print hello world. So you can see that this works like any other variable. So it is quite different from something like arrays or classes where you can't just directly print the array or class. You can print it, but there's nothing to print. You're going to get garbage values or values that don't make sense. So even though strings are non-primitive data types, in these cases, you can consider them as primitive data types and make things a lot more easier. And that's a simple introduction to strings in Java. Thank you for watching and have a great day.